Hello, friends. Happy Friday. How is everyone doing this evening? It is great to be here. Had a lovely Friday today. I'll tell you more about that. Uh, but very nice day. Very relaxed. Very happy to be with you tonight. And thank you all for joining me on what is officially the longest running YouTube pipe related channel, which live streams Friday nights from my basement at 8 p.m. Eastern, and which I am involved with. So, that's something. That's a singular honor that we have here. Anyway, great to see you guys. Let's see. We got a bunch of folks already checking in here. We had the early birds tonight. There was Gordy, Dave Stelling, Hillbilly Piper, Donnie. Good to see you guys. David G. Let's see. Then we were joined by Father Chris checking in from frozen Iowa. Yeah, going to be a lot of freezing coming down the pike, isn't there, Father Chris? Well, good luck with that. Hope the weather treats you well. Possum and Pipe, Rush Fan 3. Nice to see you, Patrick. Woody, good to see you tonight. And Bear, Wolf, and Miss Kathy. Steve and Kathy. I hope everyone there in Oklahoma is safe as well. It's going to be a storm for sure, huh? Let's see. You guys are so chatty. There's Doug Owen. Doug, I don't know what was misspelled because I couldn't quite understand what you wrote there. Mike on your intro page earlier is misspelled. I don't know if you're saying. I don't know what that means, but I don't care. I'm sure I misspelled something. Steve, how you doing, Steve? And Pepe, hello. 10 degrees. It was 6 here this morning, Pepe. 6. Hasn't been 6 in a long time. There's Big Dave. Good evening, my friend. Ochoita, good to see you. The Smooth Piper. Hello, Peter. Yeah, glad you got the generator there, Steve and Kathy. That's it's a nice backup safety thing to have. Jeffrey Feinberg, how you doing? Jeffrey Algonquin Piper, hello. First person smoker. Jeffrey Feinberg, I think you get 2 tonight. Sometimes that happens. Oh, no. I just almost put, I didn't even know I could do this. I just almost put Patrick in timeout. You got this image of Patrick having to go sit in the corner. Sorry about that. Piper on the 45, hello. Ronnie Ewing, hello. Can't stay long. Oh gosh, that's bad that you have to do that tomorrow, Ronnie. But I guess you can't schedule such things around weather. Signalman Tony, hello there. The Urban Hermit, good to see you tonight. Flynn Hill Breyer, hello, Gareth. Nice to see you. And I think we're all caught up. There's Bad Dad checking in. Hello. Minus 15 by 12 a.m. My goodness, Ronnie. My goodness, that is some weather. But I got it. So part of my day today. Got up this morning. Okay. I know weather's important, and I know it can be quite significant, but at the same time, I honestly don't care that much. I get up, I look out the window. If there's 3 feet of snow, there's 3 feet of snow. I don't care, Even when I worked, if there's 3 feet of snow, I'm not going to go to work that day. I'm going to have to plow it or shovel it or something, I know, but it doesn't change my life that much. And if it's warm and sunny, it's warm and sunny. I don't need to know 3 weeks in advance. And I particularly don't want to know 3 weeks in advance because they can't predict 24 hours in advance. So tomorrow, by Monday morning, we're either going to have about 18 inches of snow here, or we're going to have nothing, and that's okay. That's okay. I'll deal with it either way. Big Dave wants to go to Gilligan's Island when it gets cold. I don't blame you, Big Dave. Backcountry Pipe, how's it going, Mark? And Lukester, good to see you tonight. Bona Piper, minus 25. Minus 34.6 Fahrenheit. Good Lord, Christian. Good luck, buddy. Yornik, the Invisible Ninja. Where you been, buddy? Good to see whichever one of you it is, if not both. No broken pipes. Yeah, be careful with carbon monoxide for sure, David. Thank you for that. And there's Chris Con. Hello, Chris Con. Yeah, Ronnie, I've always been that way. I was like that even, I think it goes back to my days of being a little kid and wanting a snow day. And it was like, you can watch the weather reports all you want, but the fact is you're going to wake up in the morning and look out the window. That's going to tell you whether or not you're having a snow day. So it's not that I'm retired. I've been that way all my life. And I really hate, like, the hurricane coverage. Or tonight, the news is going to be nothing but the snow is coming, and we're over on this corner talking about the snow coming, and hey, somebody's over on that corner, and they're going to interview somebody about the snow coming. It's just weather. It's just weather. It'll be okay. In a couple of months, it'll be spring. It'll be fine. Ghost Rider, hello. Now, that doesn't mean you shouldn't be prepared. It doesn't mean you shouldn't get a generator or do whatever. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying I just don't think it should be the sole focus of the darn media and the news. Anyway, to get to the point of this, I get up this morning. I'm paying zero attention because that's what I do. My wife says, "Do you want to go get some groceries?" I say, "Sure." It's 10 o'clock on a Friday morning. The grocery store should be empty. We can't park in the lot. The lot is absolutely full. So we go to the other grocery store where nobody else wants to go. I think they actually don't know it's there. Cold enough to, it's never cold enough to smoke Latakia. Yeah. Oh gosh, Yornik, I'm glad you're better. Yeah, I remember Kate a couple weeks ago saying you weren't feeling well. Glad you're on the rebound there, and I hope Kate's enjoying the witness. Lukester, I think I might have said hello to you twice, but that's okay. You deserve it. Goldilocks, happy Friday. We had the only time we would have a snow day in Catholic school, Big Dave, was if all the public schools were closed throughout the whole city. If they closed all the public schools, then they closed the Catholic schools. If one public school was open, if they were reading the numbers, because each school had a number, I got ready to go to school. The only time we had a snow day was if every school was closed. It was rare. Yeah, so it was like the bread and milk nonsense, Gordy. That's exactly right. And, it just drives me crazy because you had, like, first off, why don't you have what you need? Why are you waiting until the last minute to buy this stuff? And at the worst, at the absolute worst, you're gonna have 2 days where you can't go to the grocery store. Do you really need to go into this panic? Never seen snow, Chewita. You're not missing anything, buddy. Unless you like being cold. So it's same for you, Christian. Yeah, very very rarely would we get a snow day. It had to be significant snow. Oh yes, toilet paper too, because for some reason nobody has toilet paper in their house when it snows. I don't know what. Anyway, so we go and didn't see any YouTube out updates, Ronnie. Whether or not it's just weather. There you go, 5% said. That's exactly my point. Todd Munson's got Low Country PD. Highly recommend it if you like Burley. I never even heard of that one, Todd. The thermometer dropped down a lot of key. Yeah, that's a good one, Bad Dad. Yeah, there's been days and days that people have known about this, and like I said, I still don't know that we're going to get anything here. Yeah, it's like you can't change the weather, right, Ronnie? You can't change it. So anyway, so I was annoyed because we had to go to the other grocery store. I actually like the other grocery store more. My wife calls it the old people's store, and it does seem to attract an much older crowd. But I like it because they have stuff that I buy. Uh, I really like, for a headache, I like Anacin aspirins, and try to find them, but this store hasn't. So anyway, we go there and ran it out in a little while, and then came home, and all was good. Made some lunch. get me started on that one, Woody. But yeah, you always have I mean, we could easily go for a month without going grocery shopping if we needed to. And it's not that we've stockpiled or anything. You got to be creative. You know, you're not going to necessarily eat everything that you want, but and the COVID toilet paper thing lasted like 2 weeks. So we always have enough toilet paper for 2 weeks. That's not going to be a problem. Even the lactose intolerant buy milk. This is true, David. This is true. Uh, so anyway, thank you for letting me rant about that. I don't mean to in any way marginalize or underappreciate the significance of a large snowstorm. I know that it impacts people, but it's going to be okay. You know, there's no need to panic. And I don't think any of you are panicking, but these people today at the grocery store were panicking. Not the one that I went to. The old people, they don't care. I say old people, they're like 5 years older than me, I know. But it's interesting. It's a little family-run grocery store. It's got a couple of stores in the area. 2, maybe 3. And they haven't been bought out by a conglomerate yet. And that's where the old retired folks tend to shop because it's what they remember. You know, they don't like the big supermarkets. They like these smaller ones. I'm sure snow is still a novelty to Kate, isn't it, Yornik? That's fascinating. Milk sandwich. That's right, Lukester. That apparently is the winter storm snack of choice. So I ate a significant lunch, and I was sitting there after lunch, and I was like, you know, I feel kind of drowsy. And by this point, it's about 2 o'clock in the afternoon. And I said, you know what? I don't really have anything I need to do. It's Friday. I've already accomplished a lot today. I'm going to just take a 20-minute nap. I woke up at 6 o'clock. I slept for 4 hours. So I'm not tired tonight. That's, you know, it's that. There you go, Doug. You know, and that was the first thing I said when the toilet paper thing happened. I was like, don't you people have like newspapers and Sears catalogs? But I guess they're less common these days too. No, Christian, you're safe because in 2 years, I'll still be saying that people 5 years older than me are old. But I realize that there are people right now 10 years younger than me looking at me like I'm old. This is just the way life is. And it's okay. Actually, I guess I should say older. This is true, Piper said that this cold weather is good for things like ticks. And, well, it's not good for ticks. It's good for us. Um, yeah, it definitely helps keep those things under control. There you go, first person smoker. If you didn't buy all that milk and bread, you lactose intolerant son of a gun, you wouldn't need the toilet paper. People younger than you seem old to you. Well, yeah, that happens sometimes, first person smoker. But that means you got a young mind, and that's a good thing. Did Ed show up? I'm seeing people say hi, Ed, but I missed him. Well, hello, Ed. Good to see you tonight. And Carrie, I think I missed you popping in, so good to see you tonight. I don't know. I'm old, so I'm becoming forgetful. Which, if you saw the title card, you know is true. And Doug, thank you for pointing out the typo. I don't know where the typo is, but I'm sure I made one. I didn't mean to dismiss it. I just what else can I do? Oh, Patrick, thank you. I do have a beverage tonight. You know, I'd die of dehydration, and I'd never end the live stream if it wasn't for Patrick. I love you, buddy. I'm just teasing. Um, Tonight we have. Well, I hope I don't get canceled for this. We have Cape May's Devil Reach. It's a Belgian style ale. 8.6%. 8.6% Belgian ale. I've had this before. It's excellent. I like much of what Cape May Brewing Company puts out. There's a restaurant not too far from my house, walking distance really, and they have Cape May on their menu, and I've tried several of them, and I really do like them. Devil's Reach. And it's got a really cool octopus on there. I'll put the can up there with the beast can. You can see the beast can? Yeah, you can. I have to move the table. Why am I doing this? There we go. Now I'm in trouble. Ah, beautiful ale. Cheers. You know, Ronnie, sometimes you get Haunted Bookshop and it's got a lot more flake in it for some reason. I think there might be something in the Virginia availability sometimes, but you rub it out and it tastes the same. So I'm happy. Bill! That happens sometimes, buddy. And by the way, I can feel that we're gonna have a Flint change coming up soon, so you might have to see me do a Flint change. I know you all like it when I do that, so just letting you know, it might be one of those nights. Oh, this is a good beer. A lot of the Belgians have a sweetness to them that I don't like, and this has a little bit of sweetness, but it's really like balanced by the sort of the grain backbone of it. It's just I like it. I like it a lot. Woody, I'm so confused. I hope it's a fax too, but I also hope that's a typo. Oh, did I write remember? Oh, okay. Remembering is one of those words I can't spell. Maybe that's what I couldn't remember. I shouldn't say I can't spell it because it's one of those words I really like because you can think about the etymology of it where you've got dismember, which means to take things apart, and then remember means to put things back together. And I like the idea that a memory is something where you have to take the bits and pieces and consolidate it into this memory. So you're remembering the event. I like that. So I know how to spell it, but for some reason when I type it, I always drop letters out of that word. 'Cause I don't know how to type. James, that's really touching and a beautiful thing that you did there with your dad Zippo. That's a nice way to remember them, James. Oh, I also misspelled earlier. I Okay, spelling is not my strong suit. Okay, Woody, that makes me relax quite a bit. Old Paul, Phil? Leering and learning? I did that too. Okay, let's all stop proofreading whatever I wrote because I'm a mess. Yurik is having some assegai in a mirror, and Kate is enjoying Miskatonic. Wow, I love Miskatonic. In a church ward, good stuff. Hey, Hardcrackers, how you doing, Ron? Big Rig Grinder, remember Frankenstein? Of course. Oh, James, that's really beautiful. I'm glad your mom liked that. That's right, Ronnie. I'm a scientist. I'm allowed to spell it however the heck I want. Oh, okay. You just talking about misspellings in general, Luke. Uh, so tomorrow I was supposed to, and there's part of me that still wants to, but I'm not going to. I was supposed to go to the Midwestern Tool Collectors Association annual meeting, local annual meeting. It's in Stroudsburg this year. It used to be in York. For years it was in York. This year it's in Stroudsburg. And I really wanted to go. I love that show. I've been doing it every year for about 5 years now. And I don't know if I should be driving west on a when the weather is being the weather. So it probably won't be much, but just take a little bit of freezing rain to turn that 3-hour drive into hell. So I'm probably going to skip it. In fact, I am going to skip it. I shouldn't say probably. Uh, Last weekend we were supposed to go to the what's it called? Cabin Fever Expo, which is a model makers thing that happens every year in Lancaster, PA. I went to that once about 5 years ago. It was a great show. It's for people that make like toy engines and model steam engines, things like that, or not really model trains, but like remote controlled boats and that kind of stuff. But I like going to it just because I like looking at the things, and also sometimes they've got some really cool tools. Little machine shop is usually there, and they'll have lathe, mini lathe tools and things like that. And you get like sharpening stones, and it's just a fun event. And sometimes you see things that you wouldn't see anywhere else. So we didn't do that because of the threat of weather. Yeah, my penmanship is in that category, David. I really have to admit it. I've developed the ability to write something down, and then if I don't type it in about, I don't know, half an hour, it's just gone. I can't read it. And I'm glad to see Beowulf and Miss Kathy here tonight because, Steve, I've been meaning to call you for a couple weeks now, and I keep remembering at odd times, but I got to talk to you, buddy. I finally did that thing that you've been waiting for me to do for many, many years. I won't say what that thing is, but I've done it, finally. I wanted to talk to you about that and some other stuff. So someday soon, I don't know if there's days that are good for you or you prefer weekends or whatnot. Maybe I'll wait until you're snowed in. Eric, the blue collar pipe smoker, happy Friday. You could Eric, I feel the same way about retirement. I wish I would have done it like 30 years ago. Your writing looks like a medieval manuscript, like the Voynich. Oh, you're in I know, I get it. Oh, you like the tamper, Peter? Thank you. This is actually the one I showed a couple weeks ago. Um, yes, I printing. You know, sadly, David, I've lost my ability to write in cursive. Um, I tried it the other day, and there are letters I just don't remember. So that's something I want to work on. I I feel bad about that. I mean, I worked so hard to learn cursive when I was a kid, under the tutelage of the fine sisters and their yardstick. I've had the fountain pen experience, Carrie, and I agree. It helps a lot. And when I got the fountain pen, that's when I discovered I can't write in cursive. And so I've been wanting to work on that, but never having the time. But hey, you know what? I got some time now. So maybe I will do that. So Peter brought up the tampers. I got a couple of show and tell things for you tonight. But the furnace is running now. Let me wait till that's done. Two Fairline Speedos, Everett. Oh my goodness. You don't usually get one Fairlined out until it gets really cold, so ah, I'm glad I'm not Everett's neighbor. Oh, Flint Hill, that's terrible. An entire book. Ah. Well, Brian, that's you got an excuse, you know. James, I've known people like that they write something and you look at it and you're like, you printed this, didn't you? Uh, they don't even teach cursive now, Backcountry Pipe. That's terrible. In a couple of years, we'll just be doing X's and emojis. I mean, we're going back to the days of cave paintings. Third time replacing the ignition computer, Ron? That might be a that might be a bigger issue. Actually, Flint Hill, the Voynich manuscripts makes my handwriting makes the Voynich manuscript look good. Well, David, I already use an analog clock and drive a manual transmission vehicle. I would love a rotary phone. I don't even know if that's possible anymore. And yeah, the writing in cursive is something I'm going to work on. You know, there was something nice about the rotary phone, that the fact that you had to wait for that dial to come back. I just slowed you down a little bit. Only 9 tonight. Going to be, well, I don't know if you're in Fahrenheit or Celsius there, Backcountry Pipe. Oh yeah, you're in Celsius. Okay, so yeah, it's going to be cold. It's going to be cold. We're going to be 6 Fahrenheit tonight. See, James, you're making people jealous with that because it is not normal. Oh, that's unfortunate. You had to get border guard inspected a second time for your handwriting. Cursive is the opposite of printing, Ghost Rider. It's when you write the curly Q letters that all flow together and are all connected. I don't know what else it's called. Script. It's the way grown-ups used to write. I mean, when I was a kid, that was true. You know, you learned printing in school because it was easy, and then you learned cursive because that's how grown-ups wrote. I worry so much about the day that this car dies, backcountry pipe, because I cannot drive an automatic transmission. I mean, I can literally drive it, but I hate doing it. John did have some beautiful writing. Yeah. I actually have some things he sent me a couple pipes to work on and he wrote a note and he had very nice writing. Running writing. That's interesting, Ghost Rider. I hadn't seen the snow in Russia, Peter. So it's bad there? So much for global warming, huh? Not just texting, Lord Hogarth, but texting with little emojis. All right, let me give you the show and tell. So y'all saw this a while back, and I'm sorry if you guys don't want me to do this kind of stuff. Tell me, but I think there's folks that are interested in it. So, what was unique about this is I used a branch, and you don't typically use branches just because they've got a pith in them and there's not a lot of wood and all that. Also, they're not very stable, but this branch has been drying in my basement for about 15 years. Long time ago, a black walnut branch came down, and I, for some reason, thought I'm going to do something with that, and I brought it down here. So it's been down here for at least 15 years. And the reason I tried this is it's got a lot of character. Like you've got that big knot there where one of the twigs was coming into the branch. And I just think that really is quite beautiful. It's something you don't normally see in a small piece of wood. So I've been trying to figure out how can I do this in a way that makes a good quality tamper. Now this one, it's got the shell casing, which some people like it, some people don't. It's also got a hole there that you may or may not be able to see where the pith is. This is the center of the branch. So this was a prototype, and I played with this. I did not use an abacus in college, Paul Johnson. We did have calculators. They were big and clunky and used, I think, 4 AA batteries, but they were calculators. You actually learned with an ink pot, Brian? My goodness. So anyway, this is the prototype. So I've been playing with this, and if you follow me on Instagram, you saw the evolution picture that I took of 4 in a row. I'm really happy with the last one, and I'm not so happy with the shape of this, but the concept I really like. So it's again branch wood. That's actually very close to the bark. That I don't know how well that's showing up. So you get that discoloration close to the bark, and again some knots and things like that. So what's different about this is, first off, the pith I addressed by putting a brass plug into it and sanding that so that it's flush and polished and everything. So it's a nice little accent on the top. And then for the base, I actually turned a brass tamp. So the business end of it is not a shell anymore, but it's a turned piece of brass. And that turned piece of brass is actually threaded into the wooden parts. So there's about a 1/4 inch of threads attached to this that screws in. That's epoxied in place. And then there's about a half-inch pocket below that that I filled with lead shot so that it's got weight to it. The lead shot is encased in epoxy, and then the thing, so it's, you know, it's fully encased. It's not going to come apart or anything. But I really like that concept that you can take up the branch wood and take advantage of those colors and everything, but get rid of the pith problem and put a nice solid tamp on the end with some weight. So let me know what you think. Oh, pipe and tamp. I'm not doing commissions, Father Chris. I'm not a commission kind of guy. I just had enough of that with the pipe repair stuff. I get too anxious when people are waiting for things. That's one way to get a white wedding eunuch. Tamp and twist, yeah. As long as you twist in the counterclockwise direction, Phil. Otherwise, you might unthread it. No, I'm kidding. Yeah, I like the variation too, Carrie. Toes and fingers were much better than abacus in my day as well, Christian. Much more common. Abby normal first computer brain replacement. There you go. The battery dying. Yeah, that makes a little bit of sense, Ron. If Peter's buying one already and making a bid. I mean, that's the problem with this is, you know, I enjoyed making this and I'd like to make more of them. And obviously I'd like to sell them, and anything I'm going to sell, I'm not doing it to make money necessarily. Like, you know, I don't need to sell these for a living or anything. So I'm not looking to make a fortune, but I would like to be able to pay for materials and stuff to do more of that kind of stuff. So that's the idea, is if I sell stuff, it's going to be to sort of finance the hobby of making things like tampers and pipes and whatnot. But there's a lot of steps in making this. So I can't sell this for like $10. You know, it's going to be, I mean, is $50 reasonable for something like this? I don't know. I don't want to insult anybody. You know, I don't want to, I don't know. That's the, I see Poem and Lord Hogarth talking about the pen inks, and that's the other thing that really interested me when I got into fountain pens is how, what a rabbit hole it is. You know, it's not just the pens, but the nibs and the inks, and my goodness, there's so many inks. I used a slide rule for a bit, David. My dad had a slide rule that I used to play with, and I think that's part of the reason I like math. I wish I had that slide rule. I don't know what happened to it, but it was a big one. It was like about that big. Really beautiful thing. And I like slide rules, but you know, obviously nobody uses them anymore. Barefoot pagan priest in the snow. That's a memory, eunuch. Okay, some folks are saying that's fair. I've seen those circular slide rules. They're pretty cool. Start making pencil sharpeners. Yes, Phil. Yes. It does seem to be a lot like Pipes, Lord Hogarth, where you can really go down that rabbit hole of collecting and stuff, or gathering. Yes, the paper was important too, Poem. Yeah. As a rule, you let that slide. Okay, Piper said it. The other thing I made, and this is the last show and tell thing, but if you watch my Sunday video, I think I showed you this last week, I think. I can't remember, but I've gotten into pen making. So I made a set of pens for my friend and her husband who were leaving town, and I wanted to give them kind of a going away present. And then my wife said she wanted one, so I made one for her. And I was thinking to myself the other day, well, I should have a pen, right? And I've got this love-hate relationship with ash wood. The first major woodworking, I'm going to put those on the list, Phil. Pencil sharpeners, 10 millimeter sockets, and adjustable metric threaded wrenches. That last one's brilliant. So the first major woodworking project I undertook was to build a workbench. And I wanted to make it out of a solid wood that was readily available. And I chose ash. And that's great, except I also wanted to use hand tools only. And ash is not a soft wood. Oh, I don't know about a silver band, David. That's getting a little too jewelry-ish. I'm not making art, I'm making a tamper. Oh, we won't get into that. Watches is another one that shows up a lot with pipe smokers, Doug. So anyway, I have this love-hate relationship with ash, and I actually still have a lot of ash because I used it to make the workbench, and I don't use it for a lot of other stuff. It's not a classically pretty wood. It's very linear in grain, and it doesn't have a lot of contrast. It's a very stringy wood. It's hard to work with. Believe me, ash taught me how to sharpen my tools and stuff, so I'm really glad I chose it, but it took me a lot longer to make that workbench than it would have if I chose a different wood, like maple. Anyway, I thought, well, I need a pen, and I have ash, and I have this relationship with ash, so I made myself a pen out of ash. And I think it came out well. The grain is, so you can see, it's very stripy. But it's nice. It's a nice little ballpoint pen. And yeah, I'm happy. So now I got one too. So we'll see where that goes. I have no idea. But it's fun. You know, you can knock one of those out in a day. And it gives me practice with the skew chisel. It's a little fiddly. There's a little bit of engineering going on, so that's kind of nice. It keeps me busy. Yes, we lost a lot of ash trees here, Gordy. An awful lot. Oh, really, Phil? I definitely, let's talk about that. Maybe we can work out a trade or something. Chestnut trees are rare, yeah. We had one when I first moved here, but it succumbed to whatever that disease was that was killing all the chestnut trees. So I actually have a big log of it that I've never done anything with. Thank you, Peter. I heard that Flint Hill that there is some resurgence of chestnut trees now, but it's slow. Ash trees to ash trees. Yes, yes, Yornik. I'm not sure what you mean by your first gold, Paul. Oh, you've been waiting for. Okay, I see, Paul. I see. Oh, thank you, Phil. Well, maybe I can at least do something nice with it for you. Yeah, it's another rabbit hole, Choita, where you get wood laminates, and you can do uh, what do they call them, segmented pens, and you can put patterns into them, and then you can get into acrylics and do all kinds of stuff with that. You can cast your own blanks. I mean, you could really it's a rabbit hole. Where does the village smithy stand? That's a good question, Doug. Water chestnut trees suck up water like a sump pump. That's good to know, Palm, because I got a corner of my yard that is low lying and maybe needs a water chestnut tree. Well, I am done with the haunted bookshop. I guess you win tonight, Peter. Yeah, there's no replacement for chestnuts at Christmas time, is there, Flint Hill? Is that so, Chris Gunn? Louisville Slugger? Yeah. It, we were known for ash trees here in Pennsylvania. I mean, that was one of the ash and cherry is one of the major hardwoods. There are two of the major hardwoods that were produced in this area. Well, Dry Fly Fisher, it's funny you mentioned that. She did say I have a nice pen. She didn't, but and remember, we're going back a long time now. This is over 20 years since I started woodworking here and working on the ash and stuff. And I was constantly complaining about the ash. Oh, we tied again, Peter. Good. We're getting better, aren't we? And I don't remember if it was my wife who first said it or if it was me that first said it, but every night after dinner I would say, well, I'm going to go down to the basement, and one of us said it first is, oh, you're going to go down to your ash hole. So yeah, that was funny for like 15 minutes in her mind and 15 years in my mind. And I still say when I'm coming down here, I still say I'm going to go down to my hole. Birch is a good wood, Steve. That's okay. I may be able to get some birch. We do a lot of ash kicking here, Doug. Uh, all right, pipe number two. We're going to go with the tobacco of the month, which, for those of you who don't remember, it's GLP's Telegraph Hill from 2005. And I'm kind of enjoying this. As you can see, it's more than half gone. I'm actually really enjoying this. I have to pace myself. This Sunday, I'm gonna talk about it. And then after that, all bets are off on this. But for Virginia, Glenn, this has been Really nice. So good choice, guys. Very good choice. In the scheme of the universe, wood of any kind is rarer than diamonds or gold. Do you say that because each piece is unique, David? You might be right about that, Yornik. It might be birch on the Missouri meerschaum stems. I don't remember. One of the really cool things with birch is the way the bark strips off of it, and there are people that make fly rod handles out of it by laminating up stacks of the bark and then turning them down to the grip of the fly rod. Really beautiful stuff. It's a lot of work though. So that's where I'm most familiar with birch. Lighter. Oh, and I put that in um, the Hercules, the 7LE2nd brand, I believe. And oh, it's a wonderful pipe. Bought this at a consignment shop actually. It was an estate pipe. Little consignment shop, walking distance from my house. It's closed now, but he got a shipment of. So somebody passed away, and his wife just dropped off cardboard boxes of pipes. And my wife had bought a pipe there one day. She was just in there looking around, and she saw a pipe, and she thought, "Oh, I'll buy that," because it was like $5. And it's actually I've never done anything with it because it's got a hole in it. But the guy remembered that, and he actually contacted my wife and said, "If your husband's interested, we got." So he let me sort through this box, and it was ridiculous. He was like, some of them. Uh, there was a Falcon in there with the original price tag on it of, I don't know, like $5.99 or something. And when I asked how much for this, he said, "Oh, the tag's on it." And he just was selling them for like maybe $15 each, unless there was a tag on it. Uh, so I bought about 10 pipes that day. And this was one of them. And it's made me very happy ever since. It's a great pipe. Birch is Russia's national tree. That is interesting, Yornik. I didn't know it was flammable, Gareth. That's interesting. Yeah, Vermeer is quite expensive. Veneer, there we go. Um, it's a lot of work to get good veneer. So, it's expensive for what you're getting, like price per pound, I guess. But if you take into account all the work that goes into it and what you're going to do with it, it's not that bad. I don't know if diamonds predate life. That sounds like a strange thing to say, but I mean, diamonds were made as I I would get. I'm not a geologist, obviously, uh, but I just imagine that diamonds were made in the formation of the planet itself. Like as everything coalesced, there was massive heat and compression. Um, so I would guess that diamonds all formed, natural diamonds formed prior to life. The telephone pole is the state tree of North Dakota. Peters moved on to Captain Black Copper. My goodness. In a Ben-Hur billiard. You know, it's funny. One thing about this Telegraph Hill is that I've smoked it in a pretty big range of pipes now, and every pipe, as I lit it up, I've said to myself, "Oh, this is the best pipe for this blend." So it just keeps getting better. Carrie's got some Aaron Moore going in a Nordic. Nice. Hey, Ronnie, you take care, buddy, and be careful with that shoveling and driving tomorrow. God bless you, my friend. I guess that would answer the question, Woody. Yeah. Where do they occur in terms of the strata? I don't know. Be interesting to find out, though. I am fascinated by some. I mean, I've always found geology to be really boring. Um, Sorry if anybody out there is really into geology, but as a biologist, rocks just don't interest me. But when you think about like, why is gold where it is? Like, what, and why is it so hard to find? But yet it's all together. Like, it's a metal. But where did it come from? Like, was there just one big like lump of gold when the Earth was formed that got stuck in there and it melted and spread around? Or, like, it just doesn't make sense to me that a metal forms in veins. It's intriguing. I'm sure a geologist would be able to explain it in a way that I would not understand, but I would pretend to. When it's good, David. 3 P's and a 4 dot equals 7 heaven. There you go, big rig grinder. The math works. Well, thank you for clearing that up, Doug. So it's trying to make its way to the core of the Earth? Why is it doing that, Gareth? Cold comes from supernovas. I don't know if it's true, but it's poetic, possibly. But Gary Edminster, can't be late. Good to see you. Oh, that's interesting, Father Chris. I'll have to take a look at Dan Hurd. I found a YouTube channel this week that it's got nothing to do with geology. This is a huge tangent right now. Uh, but I think a lot of you guys would enjoy it. I'm going to look up the name of the channel because I don't want to get this wrong. Because I do think you'll enjoy it. I think it was called Just One More Thing. It's a relatively new channel. They just put out a video the past couple days, past day, so I should be able to find this quickly. Can anybody guess what the Just One More Thing YouTube channel might be about? I'm convinced that my wife is watching my YouTube on Chromecast and subscribing me to things by mistake because I get some stuff in here that I've never subscribed to. Where is it? Anyway, I think it's called Just One More Thing. I'll keep looking as I talk through this. And it's a YouTube channel where this woman talks about Columbo. And she gets into a lot of details about Columbo episodes and themes in Columbo. And like the first episode was all about his trench coat and why he wore the trench coat from a sort of story point of view. It's a lot of fun. Let's just say it's called Just One More Thing. I'm having trouble finding it. Yep. It's called Just One More Thing. No. No, it's not. Wait a minute. It's called One More Thing. One More Thing _TV. Video essays on Lieutenant Columbo, the best detective in the game. I think you will like that. If you're a Columbo fan, I've watched 3 or 4 of the videos and it's very enjoyable. Oh, your wife just doesn't know what's good, Backcountry Pipe. Oh, I loved seeing Patrick McGowan in Columbo. And of course, were there 2 episodes where Shatner was the villain? I know there was one. For some reason, I think there was 2. Cannon was good too, Gary, but I think Columbo was the best. Yeah, it was very formulaic, but I don't know. There was something about the time, the quality of the film, just looks comfortable, and it's a long format. You get the full story in one episode, and yeah, I just love it. Wives talking about Columbo is not what retirement is about. It wasn't my wife that was talking about it, David, and I got a life and I'm very happy with it. I like Columbo. My wife likes Columbo too. I remember looking into what cigars Columbo smoked at one point, Urban Hermit, and I don't think I got a good answer to it. Sounds wonderful, Steve. Cornell and Deal stovepipe in a white spot that was gifted by a very good friend. Very nice. I agree that fish made Barney Miller, Troy. And Tasman likes the Rockford Files. Rockford Files was good. I know you were kidding, David. I know. Gary Edminster thinks they were Garcia Vega. I don't know, Gary. I don't know. It might have been. They were cheap. I remember that. I think Peter Fogg at one point, if I remember right, it might have been his choice, and they might have been, he might have had a thing for cheap cigars, but I can't remember. I have not watched the third Knives Out, Yornik. I really liked the first one. The second one was a little iffy for me. So I was thinking the third one might be a further decline, but if you say it's pretty good, maybe I will. That's what I recall Backcountry Pipe, is that it was hard to figure out exactly what it was. Murder by Death is a great movie, Doug. Great movie. The Fish spinoff was terrible, Woody. Yes, with his wife Bernice and their friend Charlie and the kids that they kept in the house for some reason. Yes, terrible, terrible. I think it made like 4 episodes. Third one was excellent, so people liked the third Knives Out. Okay. Buddy Epson was a detective, old Uncle Mike. He was Barnaby Jones. Ever liked Third Night? Okay, I'll have to watch it. And by the way, I did write down the suggestions from last week, and I didn't watch any of them. Sorry. So I was, the AI stuff is, the video AI stuff is getting scary good now. And it's getting to the point where you can do complex stuff and you can have a fair amount of control over it. For a while, it was just crazy. It would just do whatever it wanted to, but now you can actually get it to do specific things. And I was thinking it might finally be time to try to generate the pilot, just like a 10-minute pilot for the movie that I really want to make. And the movie is that Columbo flies to Cabot Cove and pesters Jessica Fletcher into finally admitting that she killed all those people. I want to do that so badly. I don't know how to do it. I don't know first thing about this stuff, but I've seen some of the AI video stuff, and it's gotten to the point where I think it's doable. We're all people of fine taste for sure, Young. Except we all have different tastes, but that's okay. I still don't have a big clock. Okay, we're doing fine. 20 minutes. Columbo in space. Storms and cold are coming, Gary. Yep. Columbo meets Ginger Man. Columbo on Gilligan's Island. Or how about a Columbo Scooby-Doo mashup? Ron is having a seasonal peach shiner beer and smoking Cornell and Deal's Billy Budd in an old billiard mirror that he repaired a fissure in that had opened up by filling it with baking soda and drops of CA glue. Success so far. Very interesting. I don't know if Eric the Blue Collar Pipe Smoker is still watching, but he's got a mirror pipe that's got a huge crack in it, so he might want to look into that method, Ron. Columbo versus Matlock. There you go, Chewita. Oh, you think he drives to Cabot Cove in the Peugeot, Brian? That's a long drive. I don't know if the Peugeot will make it. Him and Dog. I think there was a Scooby-Doo Batman crossover, Yonick. I think there was. Columbo and Sherlock. You know, Columbo did an episode where he went to England. Yeah, I like the sort of uniforms, Peter. So Matlock had the silver gray suit, kind of bluish gray, wasn't it? Columbo had his trench coat. You know that they were immediately recognizable. Garrett, that's a terrible problem to have. Eric has a huge crack, Christian. The original Star Trek, Kirk and Spock transported into a different old TV show every week. That could be interesting. I'm now imagining young Beaver Cleaver saying, "Jeepers, Mr. Spock." Casey Guthrie, what up, my friend? Good to see you. Gary, I don't even want to know why you're mentioning Oprah, but that doesn't seem like, I don't think we want to Oprah any of this. Really, Mark, that is funny. That is funny, yes. That episode was a good one. Now, the other interesting thing about Columbus, so I don't know if they get into this on that channel I mentioned. One more thing, but so Columbo had a couple of really interesting facts. The first one, and they do mention this, is that you knew who the killer was in the first like 10 minutes. They showed you the crime, and yes, he had a pet basset hound run, and it was named Dog, and you know that's really unusual that you know the whole time who the killer is, but yet it's still very gripping. The other thing about Columbo is Columbo did not play by the rules at all. I mean, he planted evidence, he made up stuff. So the sequel to Columbo driving his Peugeot to Cabot Cove and pestering Jessica Fletcher until she admits that she killed all those people, because that was his MO. He would pester you until you admitted. You know, if Columbo comes at me and starts accusing me of something, I'm just going to confess. I don't even need to know what the crime is, because he's just going to wear me down until I confess anyway. So, where was I going with all this? The other thing about Columbo is that he planted evidence. He made up stuff, and he basically, I think the sequel to the Cabot Cove Columbo thing is that Perry Mason then defends Jessica Fletcher and gets her off. For his company. There you go, Paul. Bona Piper, it depends on the crack. I think if it's all the way through, it's going to be hard to fix that. But I've seen people fix it with plaster of Paris. Ron's recommending the CA glue baking soda trick, which could work. I don't know. I'm not a meerschaum expert by any stretch. I know almost nothing about meerschaum pipes. You know, David, that was back when I still had hopes that Doctor Who would get good again, and I did see that episode with Vincent Van Gogh. Plus, the companion back then was easy on the eyes, so I enjoyed that series. But yeah, boy, the writing just went downhill, and that's so bad. Was John Wick's dog named Dog? I don't remember, Yornik. It was Hal Ketchum, James. That's a good way to think about it. You know, John. Speaking of John Wick, I have not seen the fourth one. And boy, they're violent movies, but there's something about them that I enjoyed. And my wife and I watched the first three together, and she wants to watch the fourth one, but it's been so long that I want to watch the first three again, and she doesn't want to do that. So, Steve, CA glue is cyanoacrylate. It's super glue. Super glue is a cyanoacrylate glue. So just sort of the super glue is a trademark. So CA is kind of a way to refer to them in general. Doug Owen, cut that out. Perry would not do that. He was straight as an arrow. Oh, he didn't. He just didn't have a name. Yeah, so I guess he would be Dog Eunuch. Touch of Evil was a good movie, Woody. Yeah. So it's crazy glue, but the baking soda is important. So if you fill a crack with baking soda and then you drip super glue on it, I don't know why this happens, but it turns into almost like a plastic. Um, so you can fill voids with that quite easily, and it's sandable. It's actually a really nice trick. Um, but I have no idea if it would work on Meerschaum. Ron's trying it out, and he says so far so good. Daniel Leslie, halfway through a Rocky Patel vintage 1992. Nice. Oh, Doug. I still like to believe there was something going on between Merv and Zsa Zsa. I'd agree with you on one, two, and three there, Yornik. And the thing is, I can't say that John Wick has great writing or anything like that, and it's a lot of it's that dark CGI type stuff, and it's hard to see what's going on and all that. But it's a ride, it is just pure action, and if you're in the mood for that, it's just a lot of fun. And that's kind of like what I was saying last week about the Fifth Element. It's not the greatest cinema, but it's fun, and sometimes you just want fun, and I think that's how I view the John Wick movies. Oh, Daniel, you're on the road. Hope you're being safe in that weather, buddy. David, I've got a stack of stuff to read, and I just haven't gotten started on it yet. But yeah, I got a lot of reading that I want to do. Um, right now, I'm writing something right now for publication, a scientific publication, and I'll tell you a quick story about that that happened today. But first, let me say hello to Texas Piper. Good to see you, Eddie. Can't be late. Haunted Bookshop in a Radice Ben Apple. Very nice. Um, I've seen that super glue trick for fingerprints. That's pretty cool, James. Yes. When you want to turn off your brain, exactly, Christian. It's perfect for when you want to turn off your brain. And yeah, the silly moments help, Gary. So this morning, so I'm writing a paper, and it's a statistical paper. It's on a statistical method. And I did a lot of programming work that involves simulations of fake data that I would like to include in this publication. Uh, Casey Guthrie's going to France. He wants to know if he should look for any particular tobacco-related items while he's there. So any of you guys that might be more knowledgeable on the French pipe tobacco scene, like Casey, know. So I would like to get these files because, and they're owned by my company, and I requested that they give them to me for publication, and they agreed to do that, but they had to go through a vetting process that would last longer than my time with the company. So I have been, it's been 6 weeks now since I've been on site. And I got an email yesterday saying, your files have been released and you can download them and here's the link and all that stuff. And I went, oh boy, because I really want to finish this paper. And, well, oh, Daniel, you're going to have some interesting weather to get through then. At least you're sitting still till Monday. That's good. I'll send you a copy, Christian. I'll gladly send anybody a copy that wants to read my nonsense. No, it's not Spearman's Row. It's actually it's on outliers and how to deal with small data sets and outliers. So anyway, I go to download the stuff this morning and it says your download's been blocked. Your organization doesn't allow you to download this on a non-company computer. Like, well, that's kind of nonsense because obviously I don't have a company computer if I'm no longer with the company. So I contact my boss and he's like, oh, I don't know, here's the instructions they gave me. And, okay, so I call up IT and I get to talk to a wonderful woman in India, and I assume she was in India. She had an Indian accent. I assume she's in India. Who tells me that her name is Charisse. I'm sorry, I don't think that's her name, but 6 weeks since that pleasant receptionist. Yes, Mark, yes. So I spent 30 minutes on the phone with this woman. She was trying, and she wanted to, quote, take control of my computer so that she could figure it out. And I said, well, sure, but I'm on a Linux system. And there was just this long silence. And she sends me a link and says, it's okay. So I click the link and it downloads a file and it's supposed to open up a connection, but it doesn't work that way on Linux. So I have to go and actually go into the terminal to run the file, which I can do. It's not, but it takes a little bit longer. And she's like, are you clicking the link? Are you clicking? I'm like, give me a minute. So finally, I get the thing running and all that, and it opens up a chat window, and I can chat with her, and she just says, this isn't working. It's okay. A lot of Kia might be in store for this weekend, Eddie, for sure. And where did the time go, Patrick? Where did it go? So after 30 minutes of this, she just says, well, the reason you cannot download the files is that you are not allowed to download those files. And I just said, well, thank you so much for all your help, because I just wanted to get off the phone at this point. So I don't know if I'm going to get these files. I might have to recreate them, which is not that big of a deal. Like I said, it's all fake data. It's all simulated, but there's probably a couple hundred lines of code that I'll have to rewrite from memory. Yeah, Keanu's not getting any younger, Ron. He's an interesting guy. And I have to admit, for a long time, I did not like Keanu Reeves. He just didn't seem like a guy I would like to, meet in person or anything. He just kind of struck me as being, I don't know, shallow. And I guess this is because of the whole Bill and Ted thing and all that. But as I learned more about him, he's actually a really good, solid guy. And I've become quite a fan because of that. Yeah, there's always all kinds of new noise in the background, Doug. It's crazy. Yeah, I worked for a multi-billion-dollar global corporation, and the IT department sounds like it's on a farm. Yeah, Chuck is in his 80s now. Goodness. Taking off, Phil. Have a good night and a great weekend, buddy. Oh, Christian, you love your four-letter definitions of people, don't you? But yeah, I really, the thing that I really liked about him. Oh, Daniel, you do not want me to go into Apple versus PC computers. Uh, Apple is the devil incarnate, and Microsoft is Apple's is the devil's second in command. That's all I'm going to say about that. Uh, I apparently on if I've got this story right, on Keanu Reeves' birthday, he would go to a coffee shop and sit outside, and like if people would like he just talked to strangers, they didn't know who he was, and he'd buy them coffee or something. He's a he's an odd guy in a lot of ways. He's apparently fairly shy, but he just likes doing things for people, little things like buying them coffee and stuff. I know, Christian, I know, but um, you do favor them, and they're often very accurate. Apple is a cult, Dr. Bob. I agree, and Microsoft is just sucking everything they can out of its users. I mean, Windows is essentially become a data collection machine for them to feed their oh, what the heck is it called, Copilot. And that's one of the main reasons they bought GitHub, is that they're, you know, feeding Copilot with it. I'm sorry, I'm getting a little overly geeky now. Good heart, that's a good way to put it, Christian. Yes. Oh, Dr. Bob, that's funny. So the fact that I'm alive is proof that Chuck Norris loves me. Well, nothing wrong with being a motorcycle enthusiast, Yordik. Carrie, if you ever need help with Linux, let me know. I hesitate to say this, but if anybody wants to try it and they're having trouble, I'd be happy to talk you through it. Or yeah, send me a USB stick and I'll put a live distro on it for you. Daniel, that's a crazy question. I mean, AI will take over the tech industry. No, AI is gonna it's gonna be useful, but it's not gonna take over. You're always gonna need people. Maybe you'll have fewer people doing the easy stuff, but they'll have other things to do. Yeah, yeah, I remember the hospital thing, Urban Hermit. Uh, yeah, I think he's a good guy. Yeah, definitely. Yornik's advice is spot on, Carrie. Linux Mint is the best distribution for a beginner, for a Windows user. It feels a lot like Windows, but you'll be so impressed at how quick it opens and how snappy it is, and just give up the idea that you're going to use things like Word and Excel and all that. Just use LibreOffice. You'll get used to it. It works just as well. It does all the things that those things can do. Uh, and all the software is free and open source, and it's updated constantly. There are no issues with viruses. I mean, it just uh, I don't have a good answer to that, Carrie. Probably a minimum of 8 gigabytes. If you're interested, send me an email. It's canerodpiper@gmail.com, and that we can chat more. I can do a little bit of research for you and stuff. Can probably even just send you a link that tells you how to do it because there's some really good videos on it. But I'd be happy to help you. Casey says commercial insurance AI is going to completely change the actuarial stuff. It will until you start seeing the errors. All right, Stephen, Kathy, you have a good night too. And yes, I will give you a call tomorrow. I'll make a note of that and give you a call tomorrow morning. So I look forward to talking to you, Steve. Skynet is listening, yes. Ubuntu is a good starter one too, Brian. But if you've never tried Linux, I really think Mint is the better one to start with, and then move to Ubuntu once you're comfortable. James, it's great for things like Raspberry Pis, absolutely. There are computers that you can buy. So first off, you're not going to find a Linux tablet. They exist, but they're not very good. You can get laptops. So System 76 sells Linux laptops. For a while, Dell was selling them with Linux. I don't know if that's still true. But the main reason, Daniel, is that just the market share isn't there. Although the market share is getting there. You know, it's getting close to this market share that Apple has. I think it's about 10% right now. So, you know, once it gets over that 15% or so, you'll probably start seeing it on more computers. But nobody's going to pay to have their the Linux Foundation is not going to pay for Lenovo to put Linux on a computer. Plus, the other problem is that Linux isn't one thing. Like Windows is one thing. Linux is a kernel that then has multiple distributions written on top of it, and that's the other cool thing about it. I mean, you can jump from one distribution to another. You know, if you get bored, you can try something different. You can modify it and really personalize it to work beautifully for you. So my desktop right now on my working computer, actually on every Linux computer I have, it's just a blank desktop. There's nothing on it. And I do not have to touch the mouse to launch a program. And that's all stuff that I kind of custom coded into it. Microsoft has a 90% market share, Casey, but it's dropping because they really, really hurt themselves with Windows 11. We should all go back to the Wang, Gary, yes. From everything I've seen, it is atrocious, Yonick. I mean, I never thought I'd see the day where I'd get pop-ups on my desktop. You can, Daniel. You can set it up to dual boot. Actually, I have. So on the computer I'm using for work, and I still call it work. You know, for writing papers, for like writing lectures, things like that, for classes that I'm going to be teaching. It's a Linux machine, but I can run a virtual machine in that runs Windows 11. So if I have to do something with a Windows proprietary file, I can do it. But it's pretty rare that I need to. So you can dual boot into Windows or Linux. That's the other great thing about it, Brian. Sorry we're off on a Linux tangent now, but you can put it on an old machine and it runs like new. because it does not have the same kind of memory requirements that something like Windows has. So if your computer is more than 5 years old, you can't run Windows 11, which is ridiculous. I have a 7-year-old ThinkPad that I just bought for $200, and I'm actually using the Pop OS System 76 distribution, which is an Ubuntu-based distribution, and it runs like a new computer. And I couldn't put Windows 11 on that. But I could trick a virtual machine into pretending that it was a 5-year-old laptop so that I could run Windows 11 as a virtual machine. You don't need to know about that stuff. That's getting into the weeds. Yes, Steam does work on Linux, Gary. I don't use it, but and apparently in the past couple of years they've really improved the support. There you go. Casey says it does work, but the games are more limited. You have zero issues with Windows 11? You don't find it to be slow, and you get pop-ups and ads and everything else, plus it's constantly collecting your data? If that's zero issues, Christian, God bless you, man. I can't stand it. It's on my wife's machine, and I just, sometimes she'll say, I have a problem with this, and I look at it, I'm like, good luck. Punch cards and flowcharts, Gary, I did them too. Yes. And earlier we were talking about slide rules. We're old, Gary. Basic and Fortran, yeah. I remember learning Fortran in high school. Dot matrix was a type of printer, Daniel. Uh, you just imagine a square made up of a lot of dots. The dots that were chosen would print the character. Yeah, 32 gigabytes of memory might make a difference, Christian, but memory's gotten really expensive. And, I've got, I think, 12 on the ThinkPad, and it's running a modern operating system at lightning speed, zero lag, and doing everything that you can do on the Windows 11 machine. I mean, I think that's part of the problem. The philosophy with Microsoft has always been, to just kind of grow Windows into this big bloated mess that, well, you'll just have to upgrade your hardware. So, that's if you don't have, what is it, TPM security, you can't run Windows anymore. And that has not existed on machines since, I think, 2020. So if you got anything older than a 2020 machine, you can't run their newest operating system. Eddie, it's worth a look, and if you need any help, let me know. Dry fly fisher, it's like any other rabbit hole. You can do it with very little computer background. Just install it and run it, and it'll take you a little bit of time to adjust to it. It's kind of like switching from Windows to Macintosh or vice versa. It's different, but you'll pick it up pretty quickly. It's graphical interface, and you don't have to ever use the terminal. But if you want to get into it, there's a lot of power in using the terminal and being able to script and install tweaks and things like that. So just however much you want to do. Yeah, water-cooled computers always seem like a bad thing to me, Gary. Always say running water through your computer is just a little worrisome. You can put it on the Apple hardware, Dry Fly Fisher, but I know nothing about it. Yeah, the UEFI is part of this TPM thing, Christian. And the security thing, I guess that's important, but I think Linux abdicates a lot of that just because of the frequent updates and patches and stuff. Doug, I love your computer system. I love it. Although I'd probably try the Blackhawk. I don't know much about overclocking, Daniel. You guys are really taking me to the limits of my computer knowledge here. I'm not a hardware guy, much more of a software guy. Um, but overclocking is you somehow make the processor run faster than it's supposed to. And by excessively cooling it, you can pull that off without damaging it. But I don't know anything about it. Well, I have finished the Telegraph Hill, and we're probably, oh my goodness, we're overtime. I'm sorry, and I'm not even, this is going to take a little while. Sorry, guys. If you want to check out, by all means, but I'll be here for a little bit longer. There are three things that I will not shut up about. One of them is Linux. Another is statistics. We smoke until dawn. I like it, Gordy. I like it so much I'm going to load up another pipe. But I'm not going to finish this bowl. What do I think caused BlackBerry to fail, Daniel? I don't know. What causes anything to fail? You know, it's when the iPhone and Android phones came out. I mean, it just they seemed old, and people jumped ship. Bang your CPU running in a tub of ice water. That's pretty much what they're doing, Dr. Bob. IDO, Doug. No, I'm not going to do that. I don't think it's a bad thing to be behind in, Gary. I'm sorry, David. I don't think you got anything to worry about. Christian, it was great chatting with you tonight, buddy. Have a great weekend. Stay warm. Oh, Palm Pilots. I never had one, but I remember they existed. I got a BlackBerry for my job. That was my first experience with a non-flip phone. And it was in a belt clip, and it would vibrate every time somebody was trying to contact me. And that was the job where I was doing all these collaborations in France and Belgium, and we had sites in Western US, and I was just constantly on call with this, and it would constantly be buzzing, and I'd have to check it, and then I'd keep it on my nightstand, and I'd hear it vibrate, and I'd get up at 3 o'clock in the morning to see what was happening, and it was horrible. It was really horrible, and I actually got this weird phantom vibration in my hip where I didn't even have the thing on me. It would be like Saturday afternoon, and I'd intentionally leave it at home, and I'd feel the buzz, and I'd go and reach for the thing. It wasn't even there. It was a little scary. All right, Chris Kahn, have a good evening, and yes, you stay warm. Have a great weekend. Phones have kind of become an external brain, haven't they, Gary? I like my computers to last about 20 years, Brian. I like my computers and my cars to last a very long time. Where would you put the webcam on a desktop, Daniel? I will tell you about the Evan Williams bad dad, but let me just finish my thought with Daniel here. You can buy monitors that have webcams built into them, so you could have a desktop with a built-in webcam, but you're not going to get it on the box, right? Um, I'm really thinking about going to a dumb phone unit. It would just hurt my Instagram presence, which is not very great now anyway. Um, oh, I lost my point, lost my place. Bad Dad. Yes. So I don't know if I told this story, but I went to get Evan Williams and the white label was on sale. So I bought the white label. I was originally going to get the black, but I got the white label. And I'll tell you, it was good. It's gone, so it must have been drinkable, right? Um, and I gotta say, it definitely was better than the price would indicate. Um, very smooth, very flavorful. All in all, it was very enjoyable, but it was sweet. For me, it was too sweet. I don't know if the others are more or less sweet, but I'm more of a rye whiskey or just a straight whiskey guy than bourbon. So I probably should have expected that from a bourbon, but yeah, it was just too sweet for me. I agree, Casey. It's definitely underrated. At that price, it was fantastic. But if I had a choice between that and I don't know, Rittenhouse Rye, which is another underrated, well-priced whiskey, I would take the Rittenhouse Rye. In fact, I might run out tomorrow before the snow and grab a bottle of that. Yeah, Daniel, you can definitely get monitors that have webcams. My understanding is those pixels were built like tanks, Eddie. So I'm not surprised it's still going. Hot toddy weather, yeah. I occasionally make those. I make those when my wife and I get colds. I make hot toddy with whiskey, honey, hot water. It's just good and soothing on the throat. It helps you sleep. Daniel, you can install Linux on a toaster. Uh, you could definitely get it running on a phone or a tablet or anything like that. It's going to be limited in what it can do. So yeah, you could. I don't know about Windows, but definitely you can get Linux to run on a cell phone. There are Linux distributions. One of them I think is called Puppy Linux, that is entirely installed on a USB drive and a small USB drive. And that's your operating, so that's your computer, is that USB drive. You plug it into a laptop and you boot off the USB, and everything is running on that USB drive. Um, so you know it can really it can get very small, but of course the smaller it gets, the more limited it is. I remember not liking wild turkey, but I don't remember why, Bad Dad. Yeah, anything that's got a sweet edge to it, I'm just not. Yeah, for the same reason I don't really like a lot of mixed drinks. Like I'll drink gin and tonic because it's got that sour tartness to it. Um, martinis, dirty martinis, and it's got that sort of olive salty sourness to it. Smarty Bob, if it has a CPU in it, you probably could. I don't know why it would. It's a very advanced one if it's got that. Slow and low rock and rye is excellent in tea. That's interesting, Gordy. I don't think I've ever put alcohol in tea. I did once put rum in iced tea, and I liked that. That was a long time ago, though. Oh, that is cool, Bad Dad. Moonshine is an underappreciated art form. Hey, Paragon Piper. Glad you're here. You are very late because we're running very late, but hey, such is life. All right, Brian, thanks for joining us tonight. Stay safe and warm this weekend. Guys, I'm obviously running overtime here, but oh gosh, it's almost 10 o'clock. We're really over. Okay, limoncello is I'll violate my sweet rule for limoncello, Gary, but I don't want to drink a lot of it. It would be good in Earl Grey, yeah. Time for another nap. That's the problem, Bad Dad. I'm too wired from my nap. I don't know how I'm going to go to sleep tonight, and that's bad because that sets up this cycle of, you know, I'm just going to have to get up early tomorrow and push through. Gary Edminster, have a great weekend, buddy. Stay warm and safe. It's good to see you. Casey, I agree with you on that. I think cigars go much better with alcohol than pipes. I mean, I drink here socially, I guess. Uh, I don't know if a guy sitting in his basement alone drinking is social, but usually I do not. When I smoke, I don't drink beer or whiskey. Uh, but black coffee is what I'm almost always drinking, or water. Yeah, we can just talk about breakfast if we keep going, Steve. We won't do that though. Good night, Piper on the 45. Have a great weekend. Stay warm and safe. 400 ounces of Folgers a day, Lurker Troy. That's impressive. Yeah, I think that's about right, Texas Piper. Oh, Yornik, that's far too deep for me at this point. Well put, though. Well, on Yornik's deep thought, I think we're going to call this to a close because I've reached that point in my class. Thank you for joining me tonight. This has been a lot of fun, and thank you for indulging me as I rambled on endlessly about uh, my interest of the moment. You can dip your cigar. I've never tried that. You have 100-ounce cups, so just 4 cups. Is that what you tell your doctor, Troy? Anyway, this has been a lot of fun. In all seriousness, I know I made fun of the weather and all that earlier, but do be careful this weekend, especially if you're shoveling snow. Once you get past 40, you got to be really careful with shoveling snow, and of course driving and all that kind of stuff. Be careful. It's gonna be a bad winter weekend for a lot of us. So good luck with that. Stay safe, stay warm, and we'll be back on Sunday where I'm going to talk about Telegraph Hill, assuming I don't lose power. My wife tells me I'm going to lose power. We'll see. Um, take care. Have a great weekend. We'll be back on Sunday with Telegraph Hill impressions. Next Friday, we'll be back with more of this nonsense. I always enjoy it. Good night, all. How do I end the stream?